So today we wrapped the reservoir with new rubber cloth, and it is done. It's sealed, and we only have to install the relief valve, and the reservoir is completed. On this side we have prepared all the battens so that when we come back Monday we will wrap these, and we've made up the wrappers and get ready to proceed to reassemble the lower action. The other thing we have to do today is over here. We found that this foundation had parted company on the glue joint and had been sort of rather poorly sealed with a piece of rubber cloth. Didn't work, so we are going to put it back together using biscuits and glue, and we can be sure that it will never come apart again. Today, among other things, we have put the felts on the little plungers for the coupler action, which comes later, but our main effort was to get the exhausters fully wrapped and ready to go, valves put on, and so this lower action, except for this one gasket along this edge, is ready to go. And also over here on the wall we reattached the disjointed parts of the foundation board. That'll be tomorrow. By tomorrow we'll sand it out, and this time it will not come apart. It's put together with biscuits and gravy. Actually, this does constitute a test of how tight our system is. So I will seal off these openings. And this little one down here, which is going to get covered eventually with the dumping valve. So now the reservoir is completely closed, and so if we suck some wind out of it by working these things, and that gives us some idea of how thoroughly sealed it is, it will take considerable time to fill up, just due to leakage, what little there is. And that's the whole procedure. Every time we work these things, it sucks some wind out of this reservoir. Now that continually goes into the chest under the reeds, so if then you play a note, air from the atmosphere goes in through the note, plays it, and eventually comes out through this valve. And that's how every American style suction reed organ works. And we can see that this is quite tight. It's taking quite a lot of time to fill up. Not bad. Not bad at all for the first time around. Today we mounted the lower action into its case and installed the foundation. So now we marked it off to put gaskets on it, and so we're ready to put the gaskets on it, and when we have the upper action ready, it will go into place. Also ready to hook up the treadles once we get them fixed up. And we hinged the 12 shades back together. And, well, let's see. Today we're going to go backwards a little bit. This arrangement didn't work very well, so we're going to find a better way of doing that. And we rehinged the 12 shades correctly. They will be trimmed out on Monday, but when the glue is fully dried. We began working on the keyboard, getting it all cleaned up, which is going to take a while. It's a slow process, but it results in a much better appearance. It's basically an aesthetic thing, but hey, there's nothing wrong with aesthetics. George continued on with the keyboard. It's looking better and better every day. He's got about 1 octave left to do today. After that, we will be able to install the swell shades that we repaired finally correctly and move ahead and begin the exciting work on the coupler action, which has to be taken completely apart, everything cleaned, felt replaced, and put back together. I can do it in the morning. We'll see how long it takes George to do it. Okay, we finally got the coupler action part hinged together correctly after a few false start, and it's drying over the weekend, and we'll trim it out, and then we will remount all of these bits and pieces that we've cleaned on it, prior to which George will cut a whole bunch of little pieces of felt, which will drive him nuts. And once we get that coupler back together, we can begin moving ahead rapidly with the upper action. At the same time, we also worked on removing the old carpets from the treadles. And we put new carpet on the treadles. There it is. Glue will set up over the weekend, and again, then we can trim it out and reassemble all the bits and pieces. When that's done, we can put it back on the organ and hook up the exhausters, and the lower action will be complete and done. If we get that done today, it'll be a good day's work. So, of course, today what's this wee business? I recovered the reservoir on this thing and got the coupler action ready to go. George made up all the little felt pieces, and tomorrow we're going to assemble it. But we also put the treadles into the organ so that they're all hooked up. Put in the knee board, and when we put the upper action into place, it will apply. This morning, George is going to have his patience tried tremendously, because he's going to have to try and reassemble this accumulation of bits and pieces into a working coupler action. We have it all hinged together and it's all ready to go. And as I say, it will try his patience tremendously because it's a slow and awkward process, but it will get done. Well, here we are to the strains of the New World Symphony. And Mr. Lip has completed the coupler action. Tomorrow we will be able to install it, put the keyboard in place, and do a lot of other things, and make real progress toward having an organ that plays again. This is one of the most difficult little jobs, and he's done a very nice job of it. Good morning. We are going to put the last finishing touches on the coupler action and then begin building up the upper action. We will probably get it to the point where the only thing left will be the stop action to be rebuilt and the gaskets for putting in the upper action, and then the organ will be done. What we accomplished today was to get the coupler action installed into the action. It looks very nice. It's nice and new, and it actually works. And now we are going to work on getting the keyboard cleaned up. These have been cleaned. We are replacing the bumper felts under the keys and on the little dingleberries for the coupler action. Then we'll put the keyboard back together, and we're making great progress. We'll have something that looks pretty much like an organ. Good morning. Yesterday we decided at the last minute that it would be wise to replace all the felt parts under the keys. These are the little things that the plungers rest on the plungers, and the little discs for the coupler action. So George got well started on that, and we'll get that finished today. So today we will have an organ that looks like an organ when we get through, as opposed to yesterday, which we thought we were going to have. So today we got the upper action pretty much back together. It looks like this now. We have put the
stop action on temporarily to figure out how to hook up all these links and so forth and so on. We made a few new ones because some of them were broken. And we're almost ready to work on the stop action. However, it turns out we forgot to put the little felts on the dingleberries under the keys, so that's where we'll start after George is through with his vacation.